Hello! I wanted to introduce a new series called Let's Talk. And in today's video, the topic is PCOS. So, I want to do my makeup real quick as I talk about PCOS. So, what is PCOS? PCOS, as I know it, is basically I don't want to say disease because it's not a disease. It's more of a condition. It's a condition that a lot of women have, and it affects their hormones. It's essentially a condition that imbalances their hormones and makes them more insulin resistant. And sometimes there's cysts in your ovaries. Now, what are cysts? Cysts are like these little sacs. I don't know, they can be like this big, this big, this big, however they are. And they're kind of filled with fluid. So why is PCOS such a big deal? PCOS is such a big deal because it's affecting a lot of women, and there's not a lot of research being done about it. A lot of them are like, hey, I have this, like, what the heck? And they're like, oh yeah, just take birth control. Excuse me? Birth control is not, should not be seen as medicine to help with your PCOS. Can it help? Yes, but not all women. And once you get off the pill, it can be a little bit harder to kind of get back like your normal cycles and all of that. Because think about it this way. Essentially, your birth control, what it does is allows you to have like a fake period and allows you to kind of control the symptoms of PCOS. But keep in mind, it does work differently for everyone. Every girl, experiences PCOS differently. What are some of the common symptoms of PCOS? Maybe not like symptoms, but more like signs. It can be like a lot of facial hair, a lot of facial hair in abnormal places, or like very thick hair in like places that you're like, what? I didn't really have hair there before. It can be like rapid weight gain. You can also notice a lot more like sugar cravings. What else? Difficulty losing weight as well is a big one. Let me drink a little bit of water. So, in my case, I was diagnosed with PCOS, I want to say, back in 2021. And the reason why I was able to know was because I knew I should stop saying people. I knew women who had PCOS, and I knew that it affected them in their everyday life. And I was advised I'm like leaving my makeup on. I was advised to go check myself, and I did. And I did check myself, and I did notice like a few of the symptoms of PCOS, and I was a little bit concerned because I noticed a lot more like fatigue, weight gain. I noticed that I was getting tired really easily. I noticed that I felt like upset all the time, that I felt like my hormones were just something was off balance, and I felt like sometimes my periods would be really, really, really heavy, which is TMI, but this is a girl talk. And if you're here to learn, awesome. But yeah, and that's kind of what I noticed. So I ended up going to the gynecologist, and I kind of told her like my symptoms, and kind of told her like what's up. They ran some blood tests, and they told me that my testosterone level was not as high as a lot of women have it in PCOS, but it was still, like noticeable. And they also did an ultrasound on me, which honestly, I feel like I was kind of robbed. I'm not gonna lie. Because a lot of women experience like their first ultrasound when they are giving, like, they conceived, like they're getting excited about like their first child and this and this and that. And I feel like I was a little bit robbed from that experience because of my PCOS. Because I didn't see a baby on the screen. What did I see? I saw a cyst. So the lady who was doing my ultrasound, she's like, yeah, so you see these little sacs right here, they're what we classify as cysts, and it's just like these sacs that are essentially filled with fluid. And she's like, as of now, like there's not I don't know, like a solution, but there's just not, it's not just not causing major harm per se. But they did tell me like you have to check yourself out and you know, make sure you control your weight. And they did tell me like, oh, if you want to, we can prescribe you birth control. But at that time, I did not want to be on birth control. So I was like, no, thank you. Okay. So that happened when I found out I had PCOS. And that's kind of like what they told me. That was my diagnosis. And I noticed it. And I noticed the weight gain. And I noticed, you know, the mood swings and just being like upset and feeling tired all the time. And eventually I started hitting the gym, and hitting the gym, it actually helped me. It looks orange because my under eyes are really dark, but what's it called? I started hitting the gym, and the gym actually helped me lose a lot of weight. I kind of got to the point where I was like, what the heck? Why didn't anybody tell me that I gained so much weight? And not that gaining weight is bad. Some people, you know, everyone has their own health issues. Everyone has their own things to do and take care of. But in my case, for my PCOS, I did gain a lot of weight. And I was just a little bit upset because I was like, nobody told me that I was gaining so much weight, but then all of a sudden I'm losing a lot of weight, and everybody's like, oh my God, like you're looking great. You lost a lot of weight. And I was just like, I don't know how I feel about that, you know? And then I became addicted to the gym. Yay. I honestly did. I wanted to lose more weight, and I was like, I need to go to the gym. And I'll be so hard on myself, and I'd be like, if I didn't go in the morning at 5 a.m., I would go in the night, which was like a little bit of a safety risk, you know? But, you know, we did what we had to do, and now fast forward to today. So recently I went to the doctors. We ran some blood tests, and then they were like, what's going on? Like, what are your concerns? And I got a new doctor, so I had to tell them about like my history and like PCOS and everything. And then they were like, okay, we're gonna run some tests. We're gonna check for your insulin resistance and all of that good stuff. And we're gonna make sure that your kidney is good, that your thyroid is good. We just want to make sure that your body is functioning the way it's supposed to be functioning. Sorry, I got a call. But yeah, the doctor was like, yeah, we just want to make sure your body is functioning the way it's functioning and whatnot, right? They ran those tests. They said I'm A-okay, right? But I still have PCOS. So I made another appointment so that they can explain the results to me, and so they can be like, hey, like, you know, what's going on? And then this appointment helped me understand my blood results a little bit better. It was the medical assistant, and she explained like what they ran tests for, and she talked to me about my PCOS, and she said like usually you can take metformin, I think that's what it's called, and it can help a little bit with your PCOS symptoms, and it can help you lose a little bit of weight. And I was like, okay, and like how does that work? Like what do I do? Like, you know what I mean? And then she's like, okay, like I can prescribe it to you. Basically, she told me, like, you kind of need it, but you kind of don't need it, because you're not, like, pre-diabetic, but also you're not, like, you don't, like, you do have PCOS. So it was like, I was like, okay. So she ended up prescribing it to me, and she told me, take it once a day. It's going to be, like, 500 milligrams. Yeah, 500 mg. And that's what I've been doing. So I started taking, metformin not that long ago. I want to say shortly after Christmas, maybe like 2 weeks ago, and I feel fine. I do feel like my PCOS symptoms have gotten a little bit better, but in terms of the whole weight thing, I'm not a little bit too sure about that. but it's because I haven't really weighed myself. Like, they've weighed me at the doctor's, but I haven't really, like, I have, but I haven't, and I already forgot how much I weighed last time I weighed myself. So that's the thing. Another thing is, I went to the gynecologist today, and she's like, what's up? And I was like, what's up? So I told them a little bit about my PCOS symptoms and like what's going on, and how they had already diagnosed me, and they had already done an ultrasound, and they had shown me that I had cysts. And she's like, okay. And then TMI, but I think it's important to talk about it because I feel a lot of women are scared, and I was just like, I'm scared too. Should I talk about this in my channel? Yeah, let's do it. I got my first pap smear. Am I gonna regret posting this online? I don't know, maybe, but you know what? A lot of people post worse stuff. I got my first pap smear today, and I was scared. Genuinely, like, no, like, all jokes aside, I was scared because I don't know, I was just scared. And it was interesting. They inserted like the whole, like, what did they call it? The speculum, whatever the heck it is. I'll put a picture of it right there. And then it's supposed to like help open up. Wait, I don't know if I should be doing the signs. It helps open up, right? And then they like swab or do whatever they have to do. But they make sure you spread your legs. You know, and they do what they have to do, and that's that. And the thing is, I got a good, I guess you want to say like nurse. She was really good about it. She's like, how are we feeling? And I talked to her a little bit, and then she's like, okay. And I'm like, yeah, I'm honestly a little bit scared. And she's like, no, it's okay. It's understandable. You know, it's uncomfortable because they're down there. Somebody else is down there that's not your partner or yourself or anything like that. And she's like, but I'm going to walk you through the process, and I'm going to, you know, tell you what I'm doing and tell you exactly what I'm using, and I'm going to show you. And I was like, okay. So we did it, and that's that. I do have another ultrasound scheduled for my PCOS to check on the cysts in February. But yeah. Another thing that they connect a lot with PCOS is your cortisol. I don't know the exact definition of cortisol, but how I understand it is basically like a hormone that is increased because of your stress. And too much cortisol is bad for your body because they can't break it down, and then it comes, I don't know what the heck. I'll look up the definition, I'll give it to you guys. But they also say that cortisol is not good when you have PCOS. So they also say like, oh, you should manage your stress, and you should get more sleep. And it's like, have you tried being a woman? No? Okay, then shut up. Because we have so much going on, and it's just impossible to not stress. And it's also a little bit harder to kind of make the time to go to the gym and do all the things that you got to do, but also take care of your health. It's either like one or the other goes out the window, honey. Like your physical health or your mental health, or both of them, and then you just focus on what you have to do in order to survive. And that's that. And honestly, sadly, that is a reality for a lot of us. We have to focus on survival, on doing what we have to do, showing up every day to our job to make sure that we make enough money to buy the groceries that we need to buy, to pay the rent, and to take care of our kids, and to do this and this and that. So it's kind of hard not to stress. And I hate that they tell you like, oh yeah, cortisol this, cortisol that. Okay, but how do you manage it? The way I would say it's best to manage it is by making sure that you take some time to yourself. If that's like going for a walk, if that's taking a nap, if that's being off your phone and doing something like artsy, like, I don't know, painting, coloring, anything that can make your brain like shut up for a moment and then just kind of like relax and get out of that survival mode would be best. Another thing that would help with this is eating less sugar and less caffeine. And it's kind of like, what about when I'm on my period? Well, start implementing more sugar-free stuff, and then, you know, on your period, I think everybody gets a pass. I don't know, I get a pass. I think I want to get a pass on my period, but I don't know. I think there's not enough research done on this PCOS, and there's so much, I guess, not enough information online about it either. They're like, oh yeah, this and this and that, but okay, how do I do it? How do I manage it? What do I do? What are my next steps? And as of now, my next steps are continue taking my metformin, and I'm gonna start hitting the gym. I'm gonna start hitting the gym again, which is kind of contradictory because it kind of helps raise your cortisol. I don't know. But I'm going to go slowly, making sure I'm going on walks, making sure I'm taking care of my mental health, making sure that I do things for myself that are beneficial. And that includes also just going outside and just getting some vitamin D from the sun. And that's essentially what I'm doing. I feel like losing weight will help my mental health a little bit more. I think a lot of women with PCOS suffer mental issues because we get depression, or we get just some anxiety about our weight gain, or we get anxiety about like our looks and how we feel, and we tend to internalize a lot how we feel based on our looks. So let's say I don't do my makeup today, I don't do my hair today, and I didn't do anything for myself, then I start kind of hating on myself, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, you are such a disappointment, you didn't do anything for yourself, you wasted your time, or this and this and that. And the reality is I didn't waste my time, I prioritized other things. And I think that with PCOS, it's kind of like you need to prioritize yourself. Like, there's no way around it. Like, you need to calm the fuck down. I'm sorry, I tend to not cuss in my channel, but I said it. You need to calm down and take a deep breath, take a breather, and take care of yourself. Do a little bit more research on what PCOS is. Even though your girly pop girlfriend over there has a lot of facial hair, maybe you don't have it, but then you have this and this and that, it can affect everybody differently. And it's important that more women talk about it, and it's important that more research is done about it, because we can find a way to help women in a way that is not male-centered, like period products. But that's a conversation for another day. I did not finish my makeup, but I'm just going to put on lipstick and a little bit of mascara, and that's that. That's my experience with PCOS. I'm just 23 years old. I found out I had PCOS when I was back in 2021. So I guess it is what it is. And you know what? I know a lot of beautiful women that have PCOS. Another thing before I forget, I know PCOS, a lot of people get disappointed because they think PCOS causes infertility. I don't think that's true. PCOS is more prone to causing you to be less fertile, but it doesn't cause directly infertility, if that makes sense. At least that's what I believe. I've seen a lot of women who have PCOS who were able to conceive and give birth to children. So everybody's case is different. It truly, really is. But don't be scared. There's a lot of women out there who do have PCOS. I am glad that it's becoming a more a topic that more women speak about. I don't like that a lot of women have it because it's not the best. It's not ideal. But we're going to do what we can with it. And honestly, I just wanted to hop on and start this new series of Let's Talk and talk about PCOS. Because why not? You deserve to know your body, and you deserve to learn about all things women, Alrighty. I love y'all. I'll see you guys on the next one.